Let's go.
There was a couple of interesting articles, though, this week. There was a couple of really, and I have not followed the news at all for 2 weeks. Like, literally, I literally was just like, nope, Danny's walking away from the news for a little while because it's all fucked in the head. So I'm just not paying any attention. I have a Nick here who, if there's anything really, really relevant, he'll say to me, hey, go read that article on Zero Hedge. I just dropped you a link. But I always watch the NASA stuff and the science announcement stuff and all that kind of stuff. And there was a couple of funky articles that came out this week. One I'm going to show you guys because it was like, what are you trying to say here, boys? What are you trying to say here? Hold on, I'm going to pull up the article. Which one is it? This one. Nope, not that one. Here it is. Okay, now I've lost Zoom. Okay, can you guys see that? Okay, so this is out of Science Alert. Now, Science Alert is an interesting website. I always love following their stuff. About once or twice a week, they'll have a gem in there. It's something interesting, you know, a new breed of butterfly that's been discovered or a new archaeological find that's been really interesting. But for the most part, it's all agenda. Like they have a huge huge vaccine agenda. They're always got huge, really bad articles about the anti-vaccine movement and stuff like that. So you can kind of follow along. I had a feeling they were. Okay. So the boys are sleeping with me tonight. But I like to watch what they're saying because that's how you keep track of what the agenda is, right? You keep track of the agenda by watching what the talking heads talk about. And they always come up with some interesting shit, especially on the space stuff. So these guys just put out an article this morning. A strange cold front is creeping across one of the largest objects in the universe. A new examination of a vast wave of cool gas rippling. Now start paying attention to the words being used here. Rippling through a distant galaxy cluster has revealed a surprise about shape, changing what we understand about cosmic weather. First of all, cosmic weather? Like I'm sitting there going, with Nick and I going, okay, wait, space, yeah, space is supposed to be absolute zero. It's a vacuum. It has no oxygen. What kind of weather are we talking about? Really? Like, really? But anyways. So they're going about this cold front, which is estimated to be roughly 5 billion years old. They originally saw it back in 2012, and they thought that by now that the edges would be all hazy, but it's not. It's crisp. Like it's a crisp, very defined edges and location on it. The sheer scale of the wave might be mind-boggling, but the physics behind it are more or less a beefed-up version of the kinds of swirls and ripples we see when two fluids slide past each other. Fluids? Yeah. Ben? Yeah. They appear as whirlpools where fluids moving at different velocities touch, not unlike the milk swirls in your coffee. Now, cool gas rippling through space and fluids. What have we talked about? I mean, we've thrown this. One of the theories we've tossed out multiple times over the last few years is that space is liquid, that it's water. That's what space is. It's actually liquid. Well, not water, but liquid. And it goes through this article, goes on and on about the Perseus cluster and this, that, and the other, and hot and cold fronts are remnants of the cluster's early days, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, NASA knows this shit because they're precognitive and all seeing. They know everything about the universe and how it works. That's sarcasm, by the way. As a steady rain of galaxies grazed this cold-hearted cluster, those regions swirled together, forming giant ripples made of warm and cold patches. The colossal scale of these events, even though these waves are moving at hundreds of thousands of kilometers per hour, has still taken billions of years to spread out. All the terminology in this article is liquid terminology. All of the terminology, every descriptive word they use are the words that we use to describe and define liquids. I also find it very interesting that they expected it would be all phasing out at the edges now, like kind of drifting off, and it's not. It's got very clearly defined boundaries that are sharp. You mean like a bubble? Kind of like maybe what a bubble we would perceive a bubble to be, because a bubble doesn't haze out at the edges. It's just always a bubble, right? Yeah. So that was that one this morning. I was like, oh, that's really, really interesting. And I kind of said to Nick, oh, are we looking at disclosure? Like, is this like a little piece of disclosure when they start implanting descriptive terms that all have to do with liquid forms? I don't know. So the other article that came out that was space related this week, it was ranting at the screen when I read this one. Researchers find a galaxy without dark matter. And I'm like, wait, that's like a double negative. They found a galaxy without dark matter. It's so rare, particularly these days after so many years of Hubble, that you get an image of something and say, I've never seen that before. Right, because we all believe that Hubble actually takes proper pictures, right? Just saying. They go on and they're talking about, they've basically found this galaxy called NGC 1052-DF2, because that's a very romantic name. And they've found this, that the images show implications. So it says the astronomers say their finding has broad implications for our understanding of the universe. It shows for the first time that dark matter is not always associated with traditional matter on a galactic scale, because they believe that they've found this galaxy that has very little or no dark matter. Now this whole article is made up with, like, you know, professor so-and-so and scientist so-and-so and all the rest of it. Okay. They find a galaxy that has no dark matter, except dark matter is a theory that they've never actually proved existed. They have no proof that dark matter even exists. They've never found a single speck of dark matter ever. And yet, now you've got these guys going, oh my God, we found a galaxy that has no dark matter. Wait. How can you have a galaxy full of something that you don't even know it exists? How can you define that it doesn't exist if you don't even know what it is to begin with? Like,
they just found one galaxy that actually fits their math model, and they don't have to make shit up to get it to equate.
It is astounding. Like this, and I actually went and did the search and I read about 6 articles all on this one about this announcement, and it's like all these talking heads from University of this. So we literally, it's like Yale University, astronomer from Yale, and is just published this study, and you've got somebody from the University of Toronto, and it's an entire piece of supposition. Like, this is the perfect example of, we know absolutely fucking nothing, yet we're going to come up with a theory to just describe something, and then we're going to define everything by a theory that we can't prove. And you can't prove dark matter, and they've never proved it, and they never will prove it, because dark matter doesn't exist. It's just ether energy. And yet we're going to come up with these massive, huge things, and you'll guarantee that this guy's probably written like his thesis paper on this now, and will be awarded a doctorate about finding a galaxy with no dark matter. about something that's a fairy tale. It like the whole thing is made up of like a theory built on a theory built on a theory built on a theory, and no one can prove a single aspect of it. So I'm thinking that I'm going to come up with a theory, and it's going to be called the unicorn theory. Yeah, the unicorn theory. It's going to be the unicorn theory, and I'm going to write a paper on the unicorn theory. Now, my theory is going to be completely imaginative and unprovable, but I'm going to put lots and lots of equations in there. And then what I will do after I have published the unicorn theory is that I'm going to go find a picture in the Hubble telescope and say, look at that one. See all those colors there? That proves that my unicorn theory is correct, because look, it just shat out all those colors. And only the unicorn theory could prove that. So therefore, my unicorn theory, and then I could be a physicist. I could like, I don't know,
like Einstein. Just get Nick to write the equations. You write the theory, he write the equations. Boom.
Exactly. And then I could be like, a PhD in physics, astrophysics or something. What do you think? We'll call it the Unfucker Universe. Unfuckers Universal Unicorn Theory.
Well,
I double dog dare you to disprove my theory.
Danny, we got the institutes underway.
Danny, when you were talking about the one before, about, the fluidic space.
Yep.
Do you remember the episode in Star Trek Voyager when the Borg were fighting this other species from another dimension, and the space there was fluidic space?
I remember Voyager. I remember that one.
You remember it. Yep. Quinlan remembers that. I don't remember it, but Quinlan does.
And it just made me think about that one.
Yeah, well, Star Trek episodes pretty much define everything. If you take like all the Star Trek episodes and all the Fringe episodes, throw in a little bit of Stranger Things, and maybe just a splash of Stargate, I think we've pretty much defined our humanity's history right there.
I love last week's Stranger Things with Scooby-Doo. I love that.
No, you mean that's Supernatural.
Yeah, Supernatural.
Scooby Natural. Yes, I have to admit that was a bit of a crazy episode of Supernatural. I laughed my ass off the whole thing. Sam and Dean and Scooby Doo. That was a little too much for me. So yeah, guys, we're talking some really, really, really crazy shit. But I got one more article I want to show you. And this one was another one where you look at the words that are defining the article. And this one here, you really only need to read the one bit. And it's all about tech giants race to create an alternate reality. Now it's about virtual reality, augmented reality, immersive reality, mixed reality, and merged reality. Now the article is basically nothing but a spiel about the difference between VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, which companies are working in this way and which are going this way, et cetera, et cetera. But there's only one sentence in the whole thing that you need to hear. They're talking about AR and VR, all the buzz, et cetera, and the media hype. But when it comes to alternate realities, either one will emerge to redefine existence, or the two leaders will merge to become an even bigger reality. And again, that sentence has no bearing on anything else in the article. All the rest of the article is pretty much a sales pitch. Who's doing this? Google's doing Google this, and this other company's doing that. But that one sentence, when it comes to alternate realities, either one will emerge to redefine existence, or the two leaders will merge to become an even bigger reality. What do you think of that? What do you think of that as just a pretty fucking existential statement of some of the shit we've been looking at for years and years and months and all the rest of it? I don't know. I just thought that was pretty damn interesting. I wanted to share those 3 articles. I just wanted to share those 3 articles with you because that was just. Listen to the lingo. Listen to the words that are being used. Listen to the descriptive terminology and what terminology they're applying to certain topics.